Before the story begins, imagine this. It is 11 p.m. The music is so loud, you can feel it inside your chest. There are 1,000 people dancing behind one door. And you are standing right in front of that door. You are the only one between order and total chaos. Stay with me, because tonight, something is going to happen that will change everything. Chapter 1: The First Night. My name is Marcus, and my first night as a guard at Club Nexus, I almost quit before midnight. Let me take you back to the beginning. I was 24 years old. I needed money badly. My friend Tony told me about this job, a night guard at the most famous, most talked about club in the whole city. People called it the craziest club, not as a joke, as a warning. The manager, a big man named Rollo, looked me up and down when I walked in for my first shift. He did not smile. He did not say welcome. He just said 3 words: "Don't be stupid." I nodded. I put on my black jacket. I walked to the front door, and then the night began. By 11:30 p.m., there was already a line stretching around the block. People were dressed like they were going to a fashion show. Some looked rich, some looked dangerous, some looked both. My job was simple on paper. Check the list, let in the right people, stop the wrong ones, keep the peace. Simple on paper, insane in real life. The very first person I stopped was a short man in a silver jacket. He was not on the list. He started yelling. He said he knew the owner. He said he was famous. He pulled out his phone and started recording me. I kept my voice calm. I kept my face still. I said, "Sir, if you are not on the list, I cannot let you in. That is my job." He called me 6 bad words and walked away. I breathed. I told myself, this is just the beginning of the night. Stay focused. By 1 a.m., I had turned away 11 people. 2 of them had cried. 1 had tried to bribe me with cash. I said no to all of them. Old Marco, the most experienced guard at the club, 20 years on the job, walked past me and nodded slowly. That nod meant, "Good job, new guy." I felt proud. I felt ready, but the night was not done with me yet. Chapter 2: The VIP Problem. Every club has 2 worlds inside it. The normal world, the main dance floor, the regular bar, the regular people, and then the VIP world. VIP, this stands for Very Important Person. In clubs, VIP areas are special sections only for rich or famous people. They are usually higher up, roped off, and very expensive. Club Nexus had the most famous VIP section in the whole city. It was called The Cloud. It was up on the 2nd floor, behind a thick velvet rope, and 2 guards bigger than me. The bottles of drinks up there cost more than my monthly salary, and everyone wanted to get in. On my 3rd week, Rollo told me I was moving up. I was now guarding the Cloud entrance. This was either a promotion or a punishment. I still am not sure which. The first big problem came on a Saturday night. A group of 5 men walked up. They were all wearing expensive watches and expensive shoes. Their leader, a tall man with cold eyes, looked at me like I was a piece of furniture. "We are friends of Big Leo," he said. Big Leo was a very well-known businessman in the city. His name opened every door. The problem? I had never seen these men before. Their names were not on the VIP list, and I had a very clear rule from Rollo. No name on the list means no entry. I don't care whose friend you are. I looked the tall man in the eye. I said, "I don't see your name here, sir. Let me call the manager." He stepped closer to me. Very close. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. Expensive, strong. "You don't want to make this mistake, boy," he said, quietly. I did not step back. I held my ground. That is one of the most important things you learn as a guard. Never step back. The moment you step back, you lose. I called Rollo. Rollo came up. He looked at the men. Something passed across his face, something I could not read. Then he said, "Let them in." The tall man smiled at me as he walked past. A slow, cold smile. Later that night I asked Rollo who those men were. He just looked at me and said, "Some questions are better left unasked, Marcus." I went back to my post, but I did not forget those men, and I did not forget that cold smile. Chapter 3:
The fight nobody expected. 2 months into the job, I thought I had seen everything. I was wrong. It was a Friday night. The club was at full capacity. Capacity. This means the maximum number of people allowed inside a space. When a club is at full capacity, it means no more people can come in. It is completely full, and adding more would be dangerous. The music was shaking the walls. The lights were spinning. Every person inside was either dancing, drinking, or shouting into someone's ear. And then it started, as it always does, with something small. 2 men at the bar, an accidental bump, a spilled drink, a few words, then louder words, then a shove, and then, like a match thrown into a river of petrol, it exploded. Before I could blink, 8 people were involved, then 12. Glasses were breaking, a chair went flying, people were screaming and running toward the exits. This is the moment every guard dreads. This is what they call a full breakdown. And in a club full of 1,000 people, a full breakdown can turn deadly very fast. I had a choice. Run in alone, which was stupid and dangerous, or wait for backup, which meant more time for people to get hurt. Old Marco appeared at my side. He grabbed my arm and said 3 words. Together, stay calm. We moved in together. We were loud, we were clear. We used our bodies to create space, pushing people back, not punching, not fighting, just controlling the space, creating a wall between the 2 groups. It took 4 minutes. 4 minutes that felt like 40. When it was over, 2 men were bleeding. 1 woman had a cut on her arm from a broken glass. The police arrived 17 minutes later. As I was giving my report to the officer, a young woman came up to me. She was shaking. She said, "You stopped it from getting worse. Thank you." I remember exactly how I felt in that moment. Not proud, not tough, just relieved. Just glad nobody died. Marco gave me that nod again as we cleaned up. But this time it meant something different. This time it meant, now you are a real guard. Chapter 4. The Girl in the Red Dress. Not every story from the club is about fights and danger. Some stories are stranger than that. Some stories stay with you for a completely different reason. Her name was Lena. I first saw her on a Tuesday night, a quiet night. She walked up to the entrance alone, red dress, dark hair. She looked perfectly calm in a line full of nervous, excited people. I checked the list. Her name was there, Lena V., personal guest of the owner. I let her in. The next Tuesday, she came back. Same red dress, same calm face. I let her in again. This happened every Tuesday for 6 weeks. I started to become curious. Who was she? Why always Tuesday, the quietest night of the week? Why always alone? Why did she never smile and never speak except to say a simple "thank you" when she walked through? On the 7th Tuesday, I made a small mistake. As she walked past me, I said, "See you next Tuesday, Lena." She stopped. She turned. She looked at me very carefully. The way you look at someone when you are deciding something. Then she said, "Do you always watch people this closely?" I said, "It is my job to notice things." She smiled, just a small smile, and walked inside. On the 8th Tuesday, she did not come. Or the 9th. Or the 10th. I asked Rollo about her once. He went very still. Then he said, "Marcus, some people at this club, you don't ask about them. You just let them pass. Understand?" I understood. But I never forgot Lena and her red dress and her small smile. Some mysteries at a place like Club Nexus, they never get solved. Chapter 5. The Secret Room. Now, this is the chapter I debated telling you, because this is where the story stops being just interesting and starts being genuinely strange. 5 months into my time at Club Nexus, I discovered something that none of the other guards had ever told me about. It was 3 a.m. on a slow Wednesday. I was doing my routine walk through the back corridors of the club, checking fire exits, checking storage rooms, making sure nobody was hiding where they should not be. I turned a corner I had never turned before, and I found a door. It was different from the other doors, heavier, painted the same dark gray as the wall, almost hidden. There was no sign on it, no handle you could see easily, just a small keypad on the side. I stood there for a long time. The next day, I asked Marco about it. He went very quiet. He looked left and right, actually checked that nobody was listening. And then he leaned close and said in a very low voice, "That door has been there since the beginning. Don't touch the keypad. Don't ask Rollo about it. Don't stand near it for too long. And for the love of everything good, never tell anyone you found it." I stared at him. "Marco, what is in there?" He shook his head slowly. "The people who know what is in there, they are not guards anymore. Some of them are not around anymore at all." That was all he said. I walked past that door many times after that. I never touched the keypad. But I always noticed something. On certain nights, maybe once every 3 weeks, 2 or 3 of those well-dressed men with cold eyes would walk through the back corridor. They did not ask for directions. They went straight to that door. The keypad beeped. The door opened. They went inside, and they always came out exactly 45 minutes later. Never more. Never less. Routine. A routine is a set of actions you do regularly in the same order. Guards have routines. Fixed walks and checks they do at the same times every night to make sure everything is safe and in order. I started timing them. It was always 45 minutes. To this day, I do not know what was in that room. And honestly, I am glad I don't. Chapter 6. The Night Everything Broke. 7 months into the job. A Saturday in December. And this night, this was the one that tested everything I had. It started with the power going out. Not the whole building, just the lights. The music cut out. 1,000 people inside the club were suddenly standing in near total darkness, and the only lights were the emergency strips on the floor. Thin lines of pale green light pointing toward the exits. For 3 full seconds, there was complete silence. 1,000 people holding their breath at the same time. And then the screaming started. When people panic in the dark inside a crowd, they do not think. They just push. And when everyone pushes in different directions at the same time, people fall. People get trampled. This is called a stampede situation, and it is the thing every crowd safety expert fears most. It has killed hundreds of people at clubs and concerts around the world. Stampede. A stampede is when a large crowd of people or animals suddenly all run or push in the same direction because of fear. In a crowded place, a stampede is extremely dangerous because people can be knocked down and crushed. I did not think. My training took over. I pulled out my flashlight. I pointed it at the ceiling, not at people's faces, which blinds them and makes panic worse. I started walking toward the middle of the crowd, and I used my loudest, most steady voice. "Everyone, stop moving. You are safe. The exits are open. Walk slowly to the green lights on the floor. Do not run." I said it over and over, loud and slow, like a metronome. Other guards started doing the same. Marco, 2 others. We became islands of calm and a sea of fear. And slowly, the crowd listened. People stopped pushing. They started breathing. They started walking. It took 11 minutes to get everyone safely out of the building. 11 minutes. Later, the fire safety officer told us that our response had likely prevented serious injuries or worse. Rollo found me outside afterward. He put his big hand on my shoulder. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, and this is the only time I ever heard Rollo say these words, "Good work, Marcus. Really good work." I sat down on the cold pavement after he walked away. My hands were shaking. The adrenaline, the rush of energy your body gives you in danger, was leaving my body all at once, and I felt completely empty. But I also felt something else, something quiet and solid, sitting in my chest, something that felt like I was in exactly the right place tonight. Chapter 7. The Last Shift. 1 year. That was how long I worked at Club Nexus. On my very last night, I stood at the front door exactly as I had on my first night. Same door, same black jacket, same city noise all around me. But I was a completely different person. I had turned away hundreds of people who were not on lists. I had broken up 5 fights. I had helped dozens of people who were unwell get safely to somewhere quiet. I had found wallets and phones, and once, I am not joking, a small pet rabbit inside someone's jacket. I had seen things I still cannot explain, and I had protected people who did not even know they needed protecting. Old Marco came to stand beside me at midnight. "Last night," he said. Not a question, a statement. "Last night," I confirmed. We stood there for a while in comfortable silence, watching the line of people outside, all those bright eyes and big smiles and expensive shoes, all those people who just wanted a good night, who had no idea what the men and women in black jackets did every single night to make sure they stayed safe. "You know what this job teaches you?" Marco said finally. I waited. "It teaches you that most people are good," he said, "but the world is chaotic, and what stands between good people and chaos is someone like us, someone willing to stand at the door." I thought about that for a long time. I thought about the man in the silver jacket on my first night, the tall man with the cold eyes, Lena in the red dress, the hidden door in the back corridor, the night the lights went out, Marco's quiet nod, Rollo's rare words of praise. At 4 a.m., the last group of guests left the building. The music stopped. The lights came up, the real lights, the working lights, the ones that showed you the sticky floors and the empty glasses and the confetti everywhere. I took off my black jacket for the last time. I folded it carefully. I placed it on the chair by the door. Marco handed me an envelope. Inside was a small note from Rollo. It just said, "You were a good guard, Marcus. The door will miss you." I walked out into the early morning. The sky was that gray-blue color that happens just before the sun appears. The city was quiet. The birds were just starting. And somewhere behind me, the night lights of Club Nexus turned off, one by one, until there was nothing but a dark building waiting for the next night to begin. But I will tell you something true, something I believe completely. There is a specific kind of person this world needs, not the person who stands in the spotlight, not the person whose name everyone knows, but the person who stands at the door in the dark, quiet and steady, while the whole crazy world spins on the other side of it. That person, they are more important than people know. I know, because for one whole year, that person was me. Is the story of my life as a night guard at the craziest club in the city. If this story connected with you, if you felt something while listening, share it with one person today.